The illegal drug business is a global, vertically integrated industry. Controlled by organized crime and cartels, it grosses over $400 billion worldwide. Its reach extends to all countries and many governments. In the United States, the chief enforcement for illegal narcotics falls to the Federal Drug Enforcement Administration, the DEA. To combat increasingly sophisticated criminal operations, the DEA makes use of civilian undercover operatives, often unknown even to senior officers, unarmed and unprotected.
My name is Andrew Chambers. I'm the highest paid CI in the history of DEA in the United States of America.
He has straddled the line in a place with few rules and no safety. Andrew Chambers is the accidental narc.
95% of my cases was done accidentally, just being at the right place at the right time.
An unlikely career launched by a desire to see justice for his brother's murder would lead to life in the netherworld between the law and the lawless.
I was every day, all day, 7 days a week, doing undercover.
Andrew has worked with all jurisdictions in a war fought on the land, the sea, and the air. No rules, no safety, no room for fear. What Andrew Chambers has seen, done, and learned in his 30 years undercover will change the way you look at your instincts.
They had called me and told me to come to the Bahamas. Ended up meeting the Bahamian. He says, look here, I want to bring 50 or 60 kilos to you. I said, okay, well, how you going to bring them to me? He says, we're going to have to go out in the ocean to go get them. I like, oh, no, I can't swim, so, I'm not going. I tell the guys, I said, look here, he wants to go get these 50 kilos, but he wants me to go on a boat. They said, okay, then you're going. I said, well, how you gonna do this? They said, okay, well, what we'll do, we're gonna put a life jacket on you. We're gonna put you out there in one of the guys' swimming pool, and we're gonna see if the aircraft plane pick you up. I like, okay, cool. So I jump in the pool, the thing don't work. I like, oh, no, I can't do this. Not in the ocean. I went back to the Bahamian and told him, look at me, you gotta figure out something else. I'm not going in no boat. So he says, okay, he says, I'll bring the dope. He brought the 50 kilos, brought them up to the hotel, and gave them to me without no money. Told me to hold on to him, he'll be back in the morning. He comes back, we're all in the room waiting for him. He comes in the door and we snatch him. I fly out on a DEA plane back to the States and they pay me 200 grand cash.
Your problem solving.
Dope dealer drives up with a grocery bag full of money. Okay, time to go to jail. Drug dealer says, I gave you the money. He says, where's my dope? I'm thinking that when I open the trunk of the car, that the police is gonna come. When I let the trunk up, nobody comes. This is a dangerous life that I live. Just life in general. You just got to be thinking about exactly what you're doing.
Your ambitions.
I had another case I did. I met him on the plane. He asked me how you get to the rental car place, how you get to the hotel, and I told him. So he said, well, if you ever come back to LA, here's my card. I like, okay, took his card. 2 weeks later, LA called me. I usually go to the office and go through a photo book. It has different guys in there that's locked up, that's not locked up, that's a target. I end up seeing the picture of the guy who I met. They said, well, how you know him? I said, I don't know yet. They said, he owned a nightclub. I said, bingo, I got him. I said, I got this card. He said, where you meet him at? I said, I met him on the plane. Well, how'd you meet him on the plane? What are you doing on the plane with him? I said, I wasn't doing nothing, I'm going home. So they said, do you think you can call him? First when I call him, he says, well, who's this? I said, this is Drew. He says, well, why don't you come see me? We just hanged out, and then I started buying drugs from him, and he ended up introducing me to his grandmother, everybody. I went to the family reunion. That's how close I was to the people. We ended up taking down the whole crew, because the grandmother was the money maker. She had a safe in the back of the walls that they had dug out, and she was putting the money and stuff back there in back of the wall. And me and her used to watch Young and the Restless. She never thought I was the police. I was working, but I wanted to watch Young and the Restless. At the end of the day, she knew what she was doing, and I knew what I was doing. That's what comes along with the territory. You playing the game, I'm playing the game, and we're just gonna see who's gonna win the game. This is what you have to do to get the drugs off the streets.
Your opportunity.
I met a white girl on the plane. She looked back and told me I had a nice suit on. I said, thank you. Me and her got to talking, just talking crazy talk. What you like to do, where you're from, blah, blah. She says, where you hang out at? I said, where you hang out at? And she says, I hang out at Carlos and Charlie's. Oh, Carlos and Charlie's? Well, at that time, Carlos and Charlie's was nothing but Colombians. That's where all the dope dealers hang out. I said, well, I go to Carlos and Charlie's too, with my Colombian friends. She said, well, what else you do? I said, well, I'm a dope dealer. She said, ooh. She says, I am too. So I was like, okay, we were in business together. And she said, well, she had a connect. I said, okay, great. She ended up hooking me to her Mexican connection. The next day, we did her, and she went to jail. Accidentally. Right place, right time, just buying an airline ticket.
Your teamwork.
At the office one day, these guys were listening to what they call like a wiretap. They were listening to somebody's phone. The drug dealer kept saying, well, I'm getting ready to go get the H2O. They thought the guy was going to drink some water. But really what he was saying, that he was getting ready to go get the PCP, and they had been missing him the whole time. You know, the agents, you know, they know the law. They don't know what really goes on in the streets, and that's what you have to know. You have to know the ins and outs, because you're playing with real guns, real people's lives, and somebody could get hurt. And the guys that I met, they were willing to learn from me, and I was willing to learn from them.
And maybe even your life itself.
We had this police officer that was playing both sides. The police officer was kind of smart. He knew what they had to do to catch him, so he did the opposite. I went after him, ended up meeting him, and he thought I was a good guy, and I was trying to buy kilos. So he said, no problem. We were doing the deal. Instead of raising his hands, he started reaching for a gun. So at that time, the agent shot him right through the window. You know, you go see the psychiatrist, he says, well, this and that, and I'm like, well, I'm okay. As long as he didn't shoot me, you know, I can live with it. I didn't get shot, so. And then when you think about it, you know, you say, man, he got shot because he wanted to sell dope, and you lose your life.
Andrew Chambers, the accidental narc.